Hey girl, hey! I am doing another installment in my college advice series today. This is going to be an advice for sorority recruitment. So since being in a sorority, I've gone through recruitment as a potential new member who is someone who's not affiliated with a sorority but is interested in joining one. So that's when you go through the rounds and go through recruitment. And then I have also been through as a sorority member into recruitment school and learning how it really works and like what the perspective is of the sorority side. So I've gained quite a bit of perspective and hindsight of my recruitment experience, which I have a whole video I filmed right after I went through recruitment, probably like a day or two after, all about my experience. And I kind of had a negative experience, not like really negative, but like I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. So I'll link that down below so you can see my first impression. But looking back, I'm gonna go through why I felt certain ways and how I can make it different now looking back, because I understand things better in this perspective. It's a mutual selection process of deciding who would be a good fit. And it's just girls coming together with service and sisterhood, and I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, it's a social thing, but it's also kind of a thing just to better yourself as a person. So it's like, it's not a club, but it's not a secret society. It's just like, I don't even know how to describe it. Look it up on Wikipedia or something. Recruitment is a very different process everywhere you go. At my school, we personally don't even have sorority houses, which most schools do. So that kind of changes the recruitment dynamic and the whole dynamic of Greek life, really, but I like how it is. Basically, I'm a Theta, Kappa Alpha Theta at my school at Chapman, and I love it so much I haven't regretted it like for a single second. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about recruitment and everything. And the only perspective I can give you as like hindsight is Theta perspective, because every sorority is different. So again, they're very secretive as far as their ritual and how they choose things and how they recruit. Recruitment in my school was 3 days. It's just on a weekend. I feel like they're gonna have to extend it soon though, because we keep adding more sororities, and 9 sororities in one night is gonna be kind of crazy. But anyway, so we have 3 days. A lot of schools do 1 week and 2 weeks and whatever super long ones. We just have 3 days. We have open house, which is when you go to every sorority as a Rho Gamma group. Philanthropy day, which is where you go to, I think we went to 5. And then you have preference morning, which is when you go to your final 2, and that's when you really get down to the nitty gritty and decide which one you want to be in. And in the afternoon we have bid day. So preference morning and bid day are the same day for me. It's kind of a crazy weekend, but it's a lot of fun. Potential new member. I don't want to say that I thought I knew it all, because I mean, I think I was more confident in what I thought I knew than I should have been. And I was not, like, I knew it was a mutual selection, but I thought I had more power than I did, I guess. And it's just like, I don't know how to describe it, but like, you really do have a say, and the sororities really do have a say too. And just make sure that you provide as much information about yourself on your application as you can, because I had a friend who didn't want to provide anything, which isn't gonna like count against you, but it can only do you good if you add like, I was in these honor classes, and it sounds like you're bragging, because that's one thing about me that was really hard for me during recruitment, is I hate talking about myself. Whenever like in normal conversation with people, we like talk about something that applies to me, I just like steer the conversation away naturally, which was a big downfall for me in recruitment, because it's about getting to know you as a person. And if you're gonna fit with your sisterhood, and if you don't talk to them about you enough, they're not gonna have enough information about you to go off of when they vote. So it's really just what you provide them with, and that starts with your application, and it can only add to your I don't know, appealingness if you add more information about what you were involved with in high school and what you're passionate about and things. Instead of leaving your application blank, I definitely suggest that you add as much as you can, because it can only help you. If you want to do letters of recommendation, if you know people in sororities, like your aunt or something, or your mom, if you're a legacy, obviously, definitely don't withhold that information if you have an opportunity to do letters of rec. I know in other schools, like my friend transferred from a school in Texas. She went there first semester, and she was like, she had multiple recs for every sorority, and that's just how it is there, which is crazy to me. Letters of recommendation aren't a big thing at my school. It's an option, but a lot of people don't really do them, which is okay. It's not like it's gonna hurt you, but again, if you have a letter of recommendation, it can only help you. So really big thing is to go into it with an open mind and really just be positive about the experience. If you go into it thinking, I only want this one, I'm only gonna like select this one, then you might have a bad experience because you kind of disregard a sorority that could have been perfect for you that you have no idea. So I definitely think having an open mind the whole time is good. And even if you go to a house the first day and you're like, wow, I really don't think this is the right place for me, I don't want to be with them again, but then you end up going back to them, just give them a second chance, because they could be completely different the next day. And it's also about like who you talk to, because you only get a chance to talk to a few girls from the sorority every round. And if you didn't really click with the 2 girls that you talked to, there might be a whole majority of the girls that you would get along with that you don't even know. So just give other people a different chance. It is kind of annoying that you have to base this whole decision off of just only talking to a few people every round. But you just have to use your instincts and your best judgment. The first day, you go to every round with your Rho Gamma group. A Rho Gamma is a girl who is in a sorority, but she disaffiliated temporarily during recruitment, so she could kind of guide you and help you through recruitment as you're in your Rho Gamma group, or Gamma Chi's, or whatever your school calls them. There's different names for them. The first day of recruitment is open house, which is when you go to every single sorority, which is kind of overwhelming and kind of exhausting, but it's a lot of fun if you make it fun. This is your first impression, and anywhere in life, first impressions are important. So just make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. Always just be smiling, because you should be happy to be there, and if you're not happy to be there, why are you rushing in the first place? The biggest mistake I made in Rush, which I didn't know until I learned how Rush works from the sorority perspective, is that I didn't talk about myself enough, which is I got cut from 3 houses, I think, out of 8, and it kind of like really brought me down, and I was like, I don't know what I did wrong. We had great conversations. Looking back, we did have great conversations and I got along with them great, but our conversations weren't about things about me. And I'm not saying that you have to talk about yourself every second, but if you don't provide enough information about yourself, the sorority girls are looking for certain things about you, which they are really like trained in to pick out of the conversation, which sounds scary, but it's really not. It's just like, if you don't give them an opportunity to say, well, I can tell that they're this because they did this or something like that, then they're not going to be able to vote or give you a point to vote because they didn't have the information to do that, if that makes sense. So just make sure that as much as you're enjoying your conversation, make sure that you're talking about yourself too, because that's what they're looking for, is things about you. And I remember I looked back and I was like, wow, I really clicked with them. Like, I don't know what's wrong. It's because we talked about our favorite 90s Nickelodeon shows and not about me, which was a great conversation, but not for recruitment, if that makes sense. Like, it's okay to like bond with a couple like little things like that, but just make sure the entire time that you're not talking about something irrelevant to yourself, you know, if that makes sense. That's my #1 tip, is always remember to put your best foot forward. Don't go like bragging about yourself like, did you know I was the #1 spelling bee champ in 8th grade? That's not what you do. But just like, don't be afraid to talk about yourself. I mean, that might just be a me problem, but yeah. First day is kind of crazy. You're all over the place. You're gonna be tired. We went till like past midnight going to all the houses, and we got like 30 minutes, I think, at each house. You have to judge for yourself where you think you belong. So, and they're gonna be judging you too, but not in the way like, I don't like her hair, she's cut. It's not like that at all. But they are judging certain things that I can't tell you because it's secret to the sorority, and they're looking for things that I can't tell you. See, it's just the ritual. I can tell you that they're looking for certain qualities, and it is about values too, more than you think it would be. They're voting for you in a certain way according to their ritual, and it's a really cool thing, especially when you're on the other side and you learn how you became a part of the sisterhood and how you were voted on. It makes you feel really special, and it's really cool. So just don't be afraid of it, honestly. It's not anything scary. I'm sorry if I am scaring you, being like, you have to say this and don't do this and avoid this. I'm not saying you have to like plan out the conversation. You should relax, have fun. It's a really fun process if you choose to make it that way for yourself. But just make sure that you are still talking about yourself, and just make sure the conversation is staying kind of on track, which the sorority girls are kind of trained to steer the conversation back to where it's supposed to go. Just don't like resist, I guess, if that makes sense, like I would do, because that's, I think, how I got cut, is because I didn't talk about myself. But yeah, after the first day, the next, you'll go back with your Rho Gamma group and you'll all write down the ones that, I'm pretty sure we just rated the top 5 versus you were voting and stuff. So just don't be too bummed, because you're only going to be in one sorority, which our Rho Gammas always told us is that even if you're bummed that you got cut from this one, it doesn't matter as long as you have one that you really, really like. So lucky for me, I felt down because I got cut from a few the first day, and I was like, what did I do wrong? Blah, blah, blah. I already went over this. But I still had my #1 the entire time. So that made me feel good. And I was like, you know what? It's okay, because I'm only going to be in one. And it worked out in the end. So just don't be too bummed. It just depends. I mean, there were girls like running away in tears, and it can be pretty dramatic sometimes. But just try and make the most of the situation and always give them another chance. The second day, you're not going to be with your Rho Gamma group when you go around, because everyone has different lists. So it'll just tell you like, first you're going to this house, and then you go line up with the other girls that are going to that house, which may or may not include girls from your gamma group, and just follow your schedule, blah, blah, blah. You might not go to all the houses that you can, if that makes sense. Like you might have a break because you got cut from a sorority, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. Again, you only need one. Yeah, during the girls who had breaks, they just went to this one room and got to hang out, and I was actually really jealous because I loved to kick back for one of the breaks. I went to all the sororities I could. But my second day was Philanthropy Day, which I'm pretty sure all schools have one, and it's where you go and learn about the philanthropy mostly. You still have conversations with other girls. It's a longer period, mostly ours were like 45 minutes. You get to watch a video about the philanthropy and learn about it and everything, what it means to the girls. It's a pretty special thing because you get to see your first look into how connected the girls seem with their philanthropy and how you could be making a difference if you're part of their sorority. So it's pretty cool. The last day for us was preference morning, which is you only get 2. Some schools, it depends. Obviously, you might get more if there's more sororities. But we went to 2 sororities, and it's the most kind of like sacred, special preference day is when they're like, okay, we really want you. You're someone we can see in our sisterhood. Now we want you to pick us. And that's when you can tell that they are trying to, I mean, win you over, I guess, but like, it's preference round is like, they won't ask you to come to pref round if they couldn't really see you in their sorority. They would have like cut you earlier on, I guess. So it's just a really special thing if you're chosen to go to a pref round for a sorority, and be respectful because it's something that can be really deep. Some girls might even cry. They tell stories about how the sorority affected them and things like that. And it's a very special thing. So it's very cool. The first one I went to was Theta, which was the one that I ended up in. And the entire time, just look around at the girls and think, could this be like the place where I want to be? Look at the girls who are rushing with you and think, could these be my sisters? And the place that you could see yourself being is the place that I think you should choose. You get prefed by a girl who you connected with the most, or they thought that you did, during recruitment earlier on, which the girl who prefed me actually ended up being my big, and we're really close. You go and choose your sorority, you put your number 1, you just write them both in order because you only have 2, and put the one you want. And then is the waiting game. We had to wait like 4 hours or something crazy like that, and it felt like an eternity as a girl who's rushing. And I remember being in the dining hall just like, can this go faster, please? And then we waited with our Rho Gamma group, and it was just agony. We had to wait so much that day. We waited in there for probably an hour before the bids came, and they passed out the bids, they made us sit on them, they made it like so, like, I don't know, but they were very particular about our Rho Gammas especially wanted us to like do it a certain way. But we all sat, and we were in a classroom, and we all sat facing outside, like facing the windows in a circle, like facing out so we didn't see each other. And then they made us sit on our bids until we were all ready to open them. And then at the same time, we opened them, and then our Rho Gammas made us be silent for a whole 2 minutes. To kind of take it in. So once we had our bids, we couldn't be too excited, we couldn't like freak out, and we couldn't like start crying or anything, because it's, I mean, I think it's a good idea because it's respectful towards the other girls who maybe are upset with their choice or something like that, where they don't want to be around a bunch of screaming happy girls at the time. They just want a minute to kind of soak it in. But obviously I got my number 1, I got Theta, and I was so excited. I was just so happy that all the like craziness of recruitment led up to that, and I was just like staring at it like, oh my god, they want me, they like me, I'm gonna be there in their sisterhood, and it was just really cool. And then finally, after the 2 minutes of silence, we could talk, and everyone was excited, and you find like the other girls that are gonna be in your sorority and your Rho Gamma group. And then we had to go outside and wait and wait and wait more. I don't even know what we were waiting for, but that's when all the girls are together. You get to like go run to your friends, be like, oh my god, what'd you get? Blah blah blah. And that's when I found out me and my roommate were in the same sorority, and it was a really exciting moment. And then finally they're like, okay, you can go. And then we all ran into the piazza, which is like a big open area outside in our school at the same time, and all the sorority girls are standing there cheering with signs and stuff, and you run to your sorority. Your pref girl, the girl who prefed you, is like holding a sign with your name on it, and you run to her and get it. That's basically recruitment weekend. I'm really excited for recruitment this fall because I'm not going to be rushing. I'm going to be a sorority member. It's going to be awesome. Except I'm not exactly recruiting the same way. I'm an officer in my sorority now, and my job is like technical stuff. I work online with all this stuff, so I'm going to be kind of behind the scenes. I'm not going to be on the floor recruiting. If you're thinking about rushing and you really aren't sure, if you don't even know if you think you want to be in a sorority, just give it a chance, because you could always just say no to your bid. Honestly, you could always, if you open your bid, you don't really want to join them, it's okay. You just say, no, I'm not going to sign my bid, thank you, and then walk away, and it's fine. There's no obligations or anything just by rushing, because you can always drop out of rush anytime if you really want to. I just think you should go all the way through and give it a chance, and you might end up somewhere that you really love. Just really have fun with it, relax, have a good time at Rush. Just don't forget to talk about yourself. I think that's my main advice. Be positive, be happy to be there, have a great time, and it'll work out. So that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching this video, even though it was really long. I love you guys. Best of luck if you're rushing in the fall. It's gonna be awesome, and sorority life is awesome. So I definitely think that you guys are gonna have fun. It's also a great way to make friends is during recruitment, either in your gamma group or other girls you stand next to, or girls you're talking to in the sorority. It's just, I love recruitment. I mean, besides like after, you know, whatever. I love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!